Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam864, and I'm joined alongside.
American Killjoy.
And we are here for the RoboCast for BattleBots Season 3. Anderson, unfortunately, was with us. However, his computer's throwing a complete hissy fit, and he can't hear a word we're saying. No, sorry, he can hear us, but we can't hear him. So, unfortunately...
Very weird.
Yeah, so no Anderson today, which is a bit of a shame, because we're doing the ultimate BattleBots Season 3 preview. We might see him a bit later on. He might try and come back if his computer decides to work, but it's one of those things, unfortunately, if we can't... technical issues, man. It wouldn't be the RoboCast without a technical issue, so that's just the way it is, I'm afraid. Steve, hello.
Hey.
Let's talk about BattleBots Season 3. At last.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yes. Oh, finally. So much time between 2 and 3. Or 7 and 8 if you're kind of counting them from the old series to now. ABC didn't pick it up, and then we wondered, when is it going to come back, because they're still selling merch. They're shopping it out to countries across the world, spreading the brand, and then Science Channel picks it up for reruns, and we're thinking, man, this might be the place for it. And then Discovery picks it up, and now they're all on Discovery, and we're so happy for it. And finally, it's back, and I'm just so excited. I know I'm stumbling over words, but it's got me so tickled,
It's a good thing, because we're gonna see a channel which is a science-minded channel. Discovery Channel is always good with documentaries and things that I like. And it's great to see that we've got BattleBots there now. It's a place where BattleBots, I feel, can thrive in the years to come. Oh, we've got Anderson back. Hello.
Hey.
This made no sense. I don't understand technology.
nor do we, Anderson.
We were just saying about how I think Discovery Channel's a good place for BattleBots to stay. What do you reckon, Anderson?
Yes, and hopefully it will be better than Series 2 as well, or Season 2. Sorry.
Well, obviously Season 2, a lot of people enjoyed Season 2. Anderson's not the biggest of fans, but when we review Season 2, I'm sure you'll all find out his reasons for that. But obviously we're here to talk Season 3. A slight rule change in terms of, one of the big complaints was the primary weapon rule of Season 2. It's now been changed to the powered weapon. So if any of your moving weapons are working, then obviously it counts towards, so things like the Disco Inferno and Chomp fight, for example, all those weapon points that Disco Inferno had the lifter used for would count, or Yeti using the forks against Tombstone, for example. Those sort of things would count in their favour, which is, I think, a much better balance.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it still kind of puts the big pusher wedges at a disadvantage, but I mean, it's one of those things where we're kind of trying to find a middle ground between what's like active, like weapon damage, and like what they classify as like control aggressive. Like they're trying to really find out what classifies as what, which I guess, I mean, we've talked about this before. I think on a previous one, or maybe off the record, but wedges are kind of classified as defensive now, and does that actually lose you points if you use that as your main weapon over the course of the fight?
I don't think it loses you points, but it doesn't gain you any points. I think that's the idea.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because it's one of those things where the SawBlaze Razorback fight is still in my mind, and exactly. I mean that's really the thing that really got everybody's goat last time. So hopefully something like that doesn't happen again, but you never know. So I mean, we just gotta. They're still trying to work out the rules, and I give them credit for at least trying. So we'll see how it happens this year.
Yeah. Anderson, anything to add?
No, I think Steve covered it all there, really.
Cool. I mean, that's always good when that happens. Anyway, enough chit-chat about rule changes. Obviously, we've got to talk about the machines. And we'll start off with Fuzzy. We ended Robot Wars with Fuzzy. We're starting BattleBots with Fuzzy. Obviously, Michael Walden and his robot Hyperthermia. Once again, another cold-based name, and it's very interesting. It's sort of like I don't even know what it is. It's like I think it's a lifter of some kind. The whole chassis is designed to lift up and grapple things. It's very it's quite interesting.
Basically, complete control mix of Medusa 2000. I guess is the best way you could describe it.
Maybe a little bit of heavy metal in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I do like it a lot. It looks very grungy. It looks mean, to be honest with you. I don't really know how to deal with it, but it's a nice looking thing. It's got a nice chunky wedge at the front to take those spinner hits. It can lift things. It can grab things. It's all things to all men, but obviously a lot of the time if you try to do too much, it'll pay you back. But from my 2 cents, it's not exactly a bad machine, really.
The only real thing I'm worried about is the wheels. But
well, that's what a lot of these machines I've seen that I've looked through all these pictures. I agree, 100% there.
Yeah, it's basically a thing, isn't it, now to have exposed wheels? It used to be the thing you didn't want to do back in the day, but these days nobody cares. They just throw exposed wheels on there anyway.
I think it's a case of because if you get pinned against a wall, you can still drive off. I think that's the idea behind it, and as well as that,
right.
If you have armor covering them, that armor can get pinned on your wheel. Your wheel's dead anyway, so you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough balance. I can understand the logic of going for exposed wheels, but it's just it's a risk you take, I suppose, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes. Anything to add to hypothermia?
I mean, there's not really much more than like what you said. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it competes because there's a lot of since I don't think any of us have seen something like this, but like something like this design actually fight before. So it's like it's a bit of a mystery until it actually gets in the ring. So we'll see.
Absolutely. We'll move on to a returning competitor from last season. Last season they had the Ringmaster. This time Hal Rucker returns with his new robot Duck. Duck exclamation mark, I should point out.
With capital letters, so it's Duck!
Duck!
Sorry, headphone users.
Sorry. There is a massive difference between the Ringmaster and Duck.
There is. Duck is Whoops, essentially. The robot famous from Robo Games and live events and such from the US. And it's all one piece of aluminium. The bodywork. It's once again all that CNC porn that the Ringmaster bought. Duck is bringing.
Sam, it's BattleBots. It's aluminum. Get it right.
Oh, sorry. Yes. But it's the face. It's a face of pure terror. I'm sure you'll agree. On the front of Duck.
Oh yeah,
those
terrifying,
just unblinking eyes staring deep into your soul.
Just to be fair though, fair play to the guy. I mean, he's up against robots. Potentially could be going against Tombstone. He's not going to duck the challenge.
Oh, ducking hell! That was bad.
That's completely quackers, Anderson.
Oh no!
Oh mate, these jokes are just getting foul.
Oh no! I'm going to send you.
I want to stop them. I'm going to get into a flap.
Oh, I'm going to send you the bill for these jokes. Jesus Christ! I have to say, it is very Whoops, but it could be really good because obviously Whoops is fairly successful at competing, and I think Duck is very much on the same wavelength as that. It's also got the lifting power, so it should be able to lift things up a little bit and control the machines around the battle box. I wouldn't be surprised to be seeing Duck towards the end of the tournament.
Yeah, I'm very fond of robots that can actually control the round. That's one of the reasons why Panic Attack is one of my favorite robots of all time.
Yeah, four-wheel drive and lifting is always a good combination anyway. So I think it could be a bit like Dietor or Robot Witch. Is fun but can still hold its ground.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it'll be champion though.
As long as it takes a beating, it could take a beating, keep on coming back. So hopefully, I hope to see good things from this. Yeah,
absolutely. Speaking of fun, I love this design of this so much. Kraken. Kraken. It's got this. Is it an anglerfish? Is it a kraken?
Yes.
I just don't know what it is. It's got a bit of everything.
This is 20,000 leagues if you went an extra 1,000 leagues down.
Oh, right, okay.
This is Kraken.
It's the anglerfish from Finding Nemo.
Yeah. Or just, real life.
Yeah, it's true.
If it mated with that crocodile robot from season 2, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
Oh, Death Roll.
Death Roll, that's the one. Sorry, I'm done. I forgot the name.
I have to say, it does look. I'm not gonna, hopefully I'm not gonna sound too. It looks a bit flimsy. I'm not gonna lie. However, I bloody love it. It just looks wonderful.
Oh yeah, design-wise, it's fantastic.
In fairness,
it's a derp at the same time.
And in fairness, you got the front armor protecting the wheels. It could do okay, to be fair, if it can get a good grapple on someone. Obviously, I don't think the jaw's quite wide enough for some teams, but hey, you know what? That could be hilarious. I think it'd be great to see that in the arena.
Oh my god, it's gonna be completely bonkers.
Yeah, Anderson, you were gonna say something.
Sorry.
Oh, I said future champion, maybe.
Oh well. Don't you know? You never know. You never know. The Kraken looks the part. I hope it goes the part as well. It's got a really nice aesthetic, and I really hope this team do well. It's a wonderful little thing, and fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We'll move on to a very, very low PP3DS undercut spinner, Valkyrie. I love the design again. You know, really nice body shape, quite low to the ground, and obviously the low undercutting spinning disc. Could be a potential dark horse, this one.
Yeah, it's got that like stealth bomber look, and I know they have, at least from the pictures, they have multiple discs for it. I mean, it could do well. I mean, I don't know what kind of power it's bringing. I mean, is it bringing us PP3D kind of power? Are we going to see it bounce around the arena like a pinball? Like, I don't know. It's gonna be curious to see how it fares.
Anderson?
It looks good, but also looks a bit flimsy to me. I don't know. I don't want to sound horrible here, but I don't really hold many high hopes for it. But this, of course, means it's probably going to come second or something, because I said the exact same thing about Bombshell, and look what happened there. So,
hey, it didn't fare well its first time out. It got pretty toasty.
It did get quite toasty. Maybe this will get toasty as well. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Next up is the Watts family and the Four Horsemen.
what family?
The Watts family.
What family? Tish.
Oh dear me. That was bloody terrible. That was terrible, wasn't it? But
it's doing it again.
Ian, Sam, I think it's Anne Gribble as well, and someone else. I don't recognise the other geezer. I do apologise. I don't know who he is. Who is he?
Shots fired.
I don't even know who he is. Is that bad? Anyway, four horsemen. The Four Horsemen. It's three blenders essentially. The four the mini bots from the Swarm, and obviously from I can't remember the
Ryan
one from King
Pratt,
of Bots.
his name. Ryan Pratt.
Oh right, I don't know who it is. And the King of Bots entry that Ian Watts took over. And I think they basically have decided this is the design to go with, and I've got a wedge to kind of guide people into the spinners, which is quite interesting. I'm excited to see how it gets on over in BattleBots this time.
Me too, because the creepy crawlies didn't fare so well last time.
Well, in fairness, most of those were the grabbers, weren't they?
Yeah. So these, I mean, kinetic energy is the way to go. Honestly, something that's really going to spin up and do the deed.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see. Maybe they can do like synchronized can opening of other robots. That would be beautiful.
That'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah. They because obviously, like I said, it's three blenders. Blender itself was pretty impressive, for what is essentially a featherweight in Series 10 of Robot Wars. Obviously, they took out Donald Trump with it.
Took a good chunk out of Behemoth as well.
Took out Behemoth as well, yeah.
Well,
gave it a good go anyway. So three of them. Actually, I mean, it's one of the few occasions where I think a four-way multi-bot, as the Americans call it, could actually potentially do quite well. So. Will it? I don't know, but you never know.
Never count it out.
You can't really count it out. It's an interesting design, and it could do well. Could do well. We'll have to wait and see. We'll move on to. I don't really know what to make of this machine. It's certainly out there. Axe backwards. It's sort of a cross between. It's a cross between Barbarous and something else, but it is just. I don't know what to make of this
overkill,
thing.
Like overkill from BattleBots of old.
Yeah, it's so wacky and wonderful. Like it's got this big heckin' drum in the middle of the body, and it looks chunky and mean, but it's so bizarre.
That's really the only way to describe it. I followed Kurt on Facebook, and when I first saw him post pictures of this thing, I'm like, what the heck? And I thought Barbarous immediately, and then I saw the axes, and I'm like, what are you planning? So I'm really curious to see how this thing fights. I've seen video of it in a test arena, so I'm hopeful that it'll actually really turn some heads. So we'll see. I mean, it looks the part, but I guess we just have to wait and see.
Anderson?
I think it looks saucy. I think that looks really tasty. But it has probably got one of the worst names I've ever heard in my life. I'll be honest. Axe backwards. What the hell even is that? That's not a name. Whatever. Go on.
I mean, yeah, sure.
It's doing something ass backwards. You know?
that's the idea.
That's the whole gag.
Oh right, okay, sorry, yeah, okay, fair. All right, I forgive it. I forgive it. It is a good
You're familiar with the you're familiar with the word ass, eh? Eh?
Yeah, it's backwards I struggle with.
Makes sense. Okay, well there you go. The axe backwards, a pretty wacky and wonderful design, I have to say. I'm intrigued to see how it gets on. Speaking of robots, I'm intrigued to see how it gets on. Can we please have a moment's silence and a thank you to the BattleBots gods for them to give us Huge, the heavyweight. Yes.
It's so outrageous.
I mean, my love for Gabriel in Robot Wars is unflappable. It really is. And Huge is
We are talking about ducks again.
Well, yeah, that's the one. And Huge is essentially Gabriel, but with an enormous bar spinner in the middle. What? It's just great.
I'm very happy to see this design because being a Robot Wars buff I know that there was actually a robot that was intended to enter in Series 7 of Robot Wars that attempted to qualify but failed to qualify, called Thundering, which is essentially the same idea. And the idea was that it was simple, because in Series 6 entered with a different machine and lost in the qualifier to a flipper, an axe, and a spinner. And they wanted to make a machine which basically could defend against all three of those. And this is the design they came up with. Obviously, it failed to qualify. So it's really nice to see a different team try a very similar design. I'm not saying that they copied them, because you probably never even heard of the machine. That's fair enough. But I just want to say that it is cool to see that design finally actually fight. It would be really cool to see it. It looks really good. Looks like it can avoid pretty much anything that it gets thrown at it. I don't think it's going to go very far, but you know, again, it could pull something out the bag. It's Gabriel's a fantastic machine, so
yeah. I don't think anyone expected Gabriel to be able to last 3 minutes with Carbide, so who knows? Maybe Hughes could do something similar in the US.
A fight against Tombstone needs to happen.
Oh, please.
To prove that.
Please.
Tombstone, I will laugh. I will have to laugh.
I mean, it could generally beat it as well, because it could just take out its weapon chain if it catches it right.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I mean, it's just something cool. I like seeing new things. That's one thing so far that we've seen is there's a lot of very just interesting looking designs. It's not the normal disc at the front, wedge, 4-wheel drive. You know what I mean? You guys have the flipper. We have the kinetic energy spinners. It's almost like a cookie cutter at this point.
Yeah.
Where it's nice to see some really new out of the these last two especially, these out of the box designs. It's just, I like seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I pray to God that Huge does well, because I would love to see Huge in more than 1 or 2 fights. You know, it'd be great to see them, you know, take on a few teams and really give it a good go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on from Huge to a British team, a fairly new British team, it has to be said. Parallax. It's a very slick looking machine. It's got a nice, you know, drum spinner thing at the front. It looks quite chunky. It looks quite solid, to be fair.
And you've seen it in person. You're probably more intimately familiar with it than either I or Anderson.
Not much more. I mean, we did fight it literally a couple of days ago as of this recording, but it's a nice looking thing. It looks the part. I hope it goes the part as well. That's my big worry, but it looks really, really nice, and it's, you know, a team from I'll be honest, I've not really heard of them before. They seem pretty left field, so I'm hopeful that we'll see them do well.
Yeah, it looks really sleek as well. It looks nice and compact. It's one of those robots where you can look at it for a long time and not get bored.
It's
I Spy. There's new things to see no matter every time you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also got that, you know, I quite like how it's unpainted, a lot of it. It's quite interesting in the sense that, you know, they haven't bothered to paint it. You don't really need to. Look, it looks sleek enough as it is.
Yeah, it's nice and shiny.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeky.
Do like a good bit of a shiny boy. But that was Parallax.
I love a shiny body, mate. Shiny body on anything.
Um, we'll, we'll move
Good night,
swiftly on.
everybody.
We'll move swiftly on to another Anglo-American team. Obviously, he's now moved to the States. Craig Danby and his brother Chris moving on to Predator, and it is a damn gorgeous-looking thing.
I think Coyote when I see this.
Go on,
I think Coyote meeting with Foxic, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, is this an upgraded Foxic, or is it a completely different machine?
It's a different machine. This is much bigger.
Yeah, I can kind of see that actually now I look at it.
It's got a nice big crushing ram at the front. I can't remember how powerful he said it was. But it was said it was it was bending some severe hard ox, that's quite exciting. You know, it's all brushless drive.
Gosh.
It'd be quite nice to see how a crusher gets on it. You know, obviously Foxic has taken on Last Rites before and not exactly tanked it, which is something you can take solace from, I suppose, Craig. And I think surely the Danby curse is going to lift now. It's been long enough.
Please.
It's in a different country. Hopefully
he's
it will.
got such beautiful designs, and they get stage fright,
They
explode on stage.
I mean, they have a fantastic technical expert as well on their team in Rory from Nuts. You know, he's a driving force, and I hope that could be the key to unlock the full potential of Danzy's machines. Because Craig wields wonderful machines, and it'd be nice to see him finally get a bit of luck he deserves. And I'm hoping this is the killer combination.
For years as well. He's been around since the late 90s.
Yeah.
Team Gammon have been making robots for years and years and years, to the point where they actually built a super heavyweight to compete in the Series 3 Super Heavyweight Championship, which got cancelled.
Yeah, and he was there at Series 2 as well.
Yeah, he was at Series 2. Yeah, they've been around for years, and they've got nothing to show for it. They deserve something.
Surely it's time soon. Surely, I hope Predator's the first machine that can properly put him on the map as like, you know, look at this guy, look at what he can do. Because we are absolutely rooting for Predator. Hopefully, we'll see how it gets on in a few weeks' time. But we'll move on.
Also, it's purple, so does that mean it's a purple Predator?
Oh no!
No.
Not Barney the dinosaur again.
Well, I'm about the
Series,
actual robot,
or Series 3.
No, I know.
Fair
We'll move on.
This one actually is competence, so it's all good.
Oh, yes. We'll move on to Rotator, a machine in the last series we didn't really see much of because it kind of got wiped out by Witch Doctor fairly quickly. By the looks of things, they've stolen Derek Young's jacket. I don't know how on earth that's happened, but it has. And I do like the look of Rotator. It's sort of... It was a robot I enjoyed in Season 2. It's not like... You know, it's fairly interesting, and I think it could do quite well. I think it just needs that good draw early on.
I think Derek. I think with Derek's jacket, I think this is what happens when you leave your dressing room door unlocked, and this is just a lesson.
And I think his shoes as well, because he's got gold shoes.
Yeah. It's just. I guess once you're in there, just take what you want.
Yeah, true.
So this is, we've talked about it before, where this is kind of like 13 Black if it was invertible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I really wanted to see it do well, and then Witch Doctor just offed it immediately, and we never saw it again until now. So hopefully they get a little bit more screen time, because it really looks like it can do the job.
Well, in its rumble that it was in last season, you know, the YouTube rumbles, it did quite a number on their opponents in there. So who knows? Maybe we'll see more of that. I think Rotator's got consider this my dark horse. Consider Rotator my dark horse for the season. I think there's a lot of untapped potential in there.
Me too. I believe that too.
Anderson?
It looks a lot better than last time around. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I look forward. I hope it does well, because I want it to do well. You know, it looks really good, but at the same time, I think to myself, if it was that easy to beat last year, or last season, shall I say? Sorry. Will it be that easy to beat this time around? I mean, it's one of them
One
things.
perfect hit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on to the Brazilians and their amazing Minotaur. It's mostly unchanged, but from the aesthetically at least. And why would they change it?
I don't know. It's
lost.
Yeah, it did lose. It did lose, yes, but I mean, what more can you say though about Minotaur? It's just such a incredible machine. It's so, the armor's thick, the drum's powerful, the drive's good. I mean, what needs changing?
Just practice. You practice driving more, I guess. Even though he's the driver on the team is completely awesome
and insane.
Maybe
you've seen
not
that.
entirely verified, but
face.
very, very visible. But yeah, I really hope they do get on well. And I mean, a semifinal appearance last year, not last year. It's been that long. A semifinal appearance last time. I expect it to do well. There's some spots in here I think that could give it trouble. But
there's not many, is there?
Expect some, yeah, that's what I mean. Why I expect something similar from Minotaur, and why shouldn't I?
Yeah, Anderson.
Yeah, I think they could definitely pull out the bag this time around. I mean, they were a bit unlucky last time. Hopefully, they can do a bit better this time and get the title they deserve.
Yeah, well, that's where my money's going. I think Minotaur's going to win. So watch it absolutely spontaneously combust and die instantly. So there's that. But yeah, that's pretty good. Moving on, returning veteran from all 3 seasons is Mohawk. Looking a bit lower, sleeker, all round generally.
It's looking a little rusty.
I think that's a paint job. I hope it is.
But I just pulled it out of the shed. All right, here you go. Go, Mohawk. Go again.
You got this. In fairness, it's looking a lot better. It's looking a lot more like tidy than it was before.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It did that and came back really fresher looking in season 2, and then kind of limped along in the rounds, and it kind of got lucky in its preliminary round in season 2, where both other robots kind of died, and it kind of just stayed around and kind of stayed mobile. And I really hope it's more of a factor in its fights this time, because it has potential to be really, really cool.
Absolutely. Anderson, anything to add?
It has the potential, but I don't know. Crushers these days, because robots are getting so much quicker and so much easier to maneuver, Crushers have sort of had their day, I think. This isn't me being horrible, it's just a case of I think that's the way it's going these days. Robots are just too quick and easy to get out of the way. And I think there's a reason why Mohawk is yet to win a battle, really.
Yeah. It's pretty excellent. But we'll see. Hopefully it does well. Our next entry. Now, this is quite the story, because I believe balesfear, from what I understand, is they paid for all their own shipping to get balesfear there, and they paid for literally everything themselves, and they still turned up, and they still end up with a robot which is going to compete in BattleBots. So absolutely fair play to them. I hope to all hell balesfear doesn't get absolutely ended. But what do we think, kids?
It has about as much chance as a snowflake in summertime, I'm afraid. Where do you begin, really?
I will say,
ground clearance, flat and low, so it's accessible to pretty much every overhead weapon. No,
it's not going to win. I think that's fairly obvious, but hey, you know what? It's great. it's just so. It's so like I like how it's sort of like it's so different to everything else. Like everything else is super high tech. It look sleek and low and edgy, and it's all these.
Right.
It's it's a complete throwback, and I love that.
It's important, I think, that BattleBots has robots like this on the show. I was actually talking about this with my dad earlier, because I showed him some of the robots, and he agrees with me when I say, like, it's. I think we've talked before about how Robot Wars seems more, like, friendly to like a garage team build than BattleBots ever has.
Yeah.
So this is maybe an example of how BattleBots is a little bit is trying to get past the whole. You have to have this much money and this much engineering experience. You have to have a shop and this like this thing. You could build this in your garage, no problem. And show up to BattleBots and fight. So it's not like an exclusive club that you have to have all this tooling and all this experience and all the not to say that I don't know I don't know this team. I don't know what experience they have in fighting robots. I'm sure I could look on the website, but I expect it to come out and just fight like a bull.
Yeah,
But
and have
I mean,
I hope the team have fun doing it as well. That's the main thing.
yes, exactly. Yeah, but it's nice to see bots like this to make BattleBots seem like less like this exclusive club of people with have a lot of money and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Anderson?
That's pretty much everything.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Right, we shall move on from the balesfear, and we'll move on to SawBlaze. Is it fair to say that all three of us are massive, massive SawBlaze fans?
Present, hand raised high.
SawBlaze is king.
Yeah, it's just such a nice looking thing, and the new paint job just makes it look so slick. Oh, it looks so nice. I hope to all hell we get to see more of SawBlaze this time around. I really do.
Yeah, we're all familiar with how it got screwed out of us, out of a placing in the last series. Like it's enough talked about that.
Yeah.
But absolutely, 100% want to see more of SawBlaze. I want to see more of robots that are very like this. And Anderson, I know one of your favorite robots is SOB, and this is very much up your alley. If it's something that, like, I mean, come on, I mean, jeez.
Well, I'm like you. I like control robots.
Yeah.
I find control robots very good, especially with driving control, etc., etc. I think that ups the game a lot more than just having a big, heavy weapon that you can get one-hit KOs with. And SawBlaze is just a masterpiece, in my opinion, because it is like SOB, but obviously in a heavyweight form and much more powerful. And it was robbed last time around, and I would love to see it actually get some revenge for that. So, who knows? Fingers crossed.
Plus, the saw itself is actually really powerful. It'll go through a lot of the armor, which is pretty amazing as well. Mm-hmm. So it'll be nice to see how SawBlaze gets on. I think again, much like Rotator, this could be a dark horse for me. I hope SawBlaze does a number on a few teams. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll move on to Vanquish. Now, our good friend from the podcast before, Jack Tweedy, his machine. I seem to remember Anderson offending him because of his distaste of wedges, and obviously Vanquish is the wedgiest wedge. I do really like it though. I believe this is his first heavyweight by himself as well. So considering that, that's pretty good effort.
Yeah.
And that's all we'll get. But
I can't really disagree with you there, to be honest. It looks solid, looks good. Another 4-wheel drive lifter, if I'm right in thinking.
It's actually a sewer snake style lifter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Sewer snake proved it could work.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. And this is this season's sewer snake, because obviously sewer snake's not in it this year.
But
there's a lot that aren't in this year.
I didn't claim I didn't like wedges. Firestorm's one of my favourite robots. I didn't like wedges. I just said I don't like bland grey wedges.
You're not fond of the race to the floor.
And for the record, my thoughts on Rapid have changed. I actually do like Rapid now, so there you go.
There you go. All right then. But Vanquish itself, it's a nice looking thing. It looks slick. It looks smart. I hope for Tweedy's sake, because obviously I know he's worked very hard on it. I hope it doesn't get too wrecked. That's my only fear. Like I want him to come back with a robot. We'll have to wait and see. Steve, anything to add?
I mean, it should be. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing else to say really. I mean, it's a wedge. It's sewer snake-ish. I mean, it could do well. I'd like to see how fast it is, in the ring. So we'll see if it can dominate. Well, I mean, it's one of those unknowns. So I mean, I'm excited to see it.
We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, from us personally, obviously, Tweedy's been with us before. Best of luck, Tweedy. Hopefully, you do a number on a few teams.
I'm sorry. I'm like looking ahead to what's up next, and I'm kind of excited.
It's a shame. It's a shame because we've had Vanquish, which is one end of the spectrum, and then we're going to move on to, I think, probably my favourite of all the season 3 BattleBots. I've shown them a lot of love on Twitter for good reason. I think Battle Royale with cheese. It's in my heart. It's in my arteries. It's everywhere else, really. It's a burger bot. I mean, come on.
I'm wondering how much they were inspired by the McDonald's Happy Meal toys from back in the day.
I do wonder, because there was one literally like this, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Mac Attack.
That was it, Mac Attack. Yeah, it wasn't exactly like this, but it like had two burgers that were like the spinners, which is pretty cool. But I think they've done a great job on this, to be honest. I mean, it looks like a burger, to the point where it actually makes me hungry looking at it.
It really does. Apparently, I've been let into a few small pieces of information. Apparently, the with Battle Royale, it was designed using 2 different versions of the same CADing software. And when they arrived, the armor was either too big the armor was too big for the chassis. Oh. So they had to cut it all down until it fit. and they managed to get it done, which is great. And
it's so good to see that it made it, knowing that now, because I think people seeing this on TV are just gonna lose it.
I would have.
It's just funny.
I would have I do think I would have been so upset. Had this bit ended up being like a reserve or something. Like, come on. How could you not have this in? It's wonderful.
There's got to be like like when I hear Royale with cheese, I think Pulp Fiction. So I mean, I don't see anything in the picture, but maybe there's references. I don't know. But
and the cost. I mean, come on. The costumes.
What do you call a quarter pounder in France? A Royale with cheese.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's true. Hey,
and look at the costumes. I mean, come on.
And BattleBots needs characters.
Yes.
This is entirely, and Anderson, I'm sure. I mean, we've talked before about Mobius, how people really get into it and really like
go with the character.
It's more than just the robot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Easily one of the best looking teams I've seen in a long time.
And one of the best parts about this team. One of the best parts about this team. Their team name is Poor Life Choices. I can relate to this on so many levels.
My entire life is a poor life choice.
It's just too real.
I love it. I'm rooting for the burger to win the whole thing. I really am. Closely following them, has to be said, I once again our good friends Tom and Tim from teams Tauron and Concussion combining forces to bring us Monsoon.
Dun 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 dun.
There you go.
I saw the flag. Sorry, you got it.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously
it's just on cue. Like, anytime you see the flag, just walking down the street, dun 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 dun. Just
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, America schmeck.
Here's one.
Tombstone? That's Wombstone, more like. That's rubbish.
Ooh. Here's one for you, then, Anderson. The young lady in this team, the young lady in the Monsoon team, she was in another Robot Wars team. Who was she from?
Alien.
Well done.
Or the Alien.
Yeah, the Alien. Yeah.
From series 5, 6, and 7. Not Alien from series 3.
Yeah, none of that nonsense. But we I have to say, Monsoon looks very slick, doesn't it? It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks familiar. It looks familiar. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I can't quite put my finger on it.
Could it be the man on the far left?
Yes, Mr. Brewster. That must be it. I have to say, I hope. Beyond all hope, because obviously Tauron had horrendous luck in Robot Wars. It had 3 fights and every single one it lost. I hope we get to see Monsoon win a fight. That's my only hope for this series, please.
Hopefully, Tim can bring him some concussion luck.
Yeah, because I have to say, Tim digging the hair there as well. He's loving life, and obviously, I think is it Sam in the team as well? Yeah, Sam in the team as well. He's a good lad as well. So hopefully, Monsoon will be able to rain down the pain. Yeah,
you see that little. You see that in the image. They're pretty cheeky.
Yeah, loving life there. Yeah. Hopefully Monsoon does well. I'd like to see Monsoon pull a few surprises. That's for sure. Moving on next up is a robot I actually know very little about. It's Gammon 9. I think it's a crusher lifter. I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Almost as good as the guy's mustache.
Oh, but his moustache is.
I mean, what's the Steve? Sorry, I've forgotten his name again. What's the guy from Biohazard again? Team captain Biohazard.
Carlo Bertocchini.
Yeah. He has nothing on this guy. This mustache is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean that's that's Jamie from Mythbusters level there. That's amazing.
He's got the mustache.
Oh, sorry, we're talking about robots, aren't we? Sorry.
Well, he was. I mean, the guy from Mythbusters was as a judge last season. It makes sense.
Yeah, Adam Savage. Yep. They list it here as a
One of the
grappler.
best names ever. Adam Savage. Love it.
Yeah, grappler. I imagine it's just like it's to hold people and ram people. Then in that case, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of Gammon. It looks
A bit like a four-wheel drive suicidal tendencies, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, with really flat sides that I'd like to point out. I'll hopefully it doesn't get matched up against something called Bronco and get flipped on its side like Razorback.
That was quite fun. To be honest, that was quite fun.
the luck of that was incredible.
Flat sides are exposed to spinners, so
Truth.
This is very true. This is very true.
And they look so dead on serious in this picture.
They look like they're about to mess some people up, don't they? Really, they really do.
Where's the chicks?
We'll move on. We'll move on to Chomp. I think it's quite easy to say this is one of the most hyperactive and out there machines in all of BattleBots. Chomp itself looks fairly similar, but I have to say one thing I absolutely love. If you notice by the axe, where the axe is on the chassis, there's a little cylinder in there, and there's actually two. There's one either side, and that's its side stream mech.
Oh, awesome! So no more little side fins that break off.
But they're inside the axe shaft.
Oh my god! Oh wow! Oh, I was looking at the holes down like near the bottom above the lettering.
No. Within the axe, like pivot thing.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It's ridiculous. I don't know how on earth they managed to do that, but they somehow have. And
yeah,
Chomp's great. It's so unbalanced. It's just gonna fall over, but I love it.
I hope it's more bottom heavy this time because it really can do the business. One thing I did notice, and I don't think I haven't noticed it, and I've seen it on TV. I've seen the team. There's a team member that is very famous for a certain axe robot, Joshua Little with the Judge, and I believe he's on the far left. And that it was a super heavyweight robot, and it was very successful over here. Very famous for running into the pulverizer and having the power switch fall out. In what was that, season 3?
The Judge was the only robot to actually puncture the battle box floor and was asked to remove its spike.
Yes. I don't know how it manages that, but it's that thing was pretty scary, and obviously we've brought that kind of madness to Chomp over the past 2 series, and hopefully it does better than it did last time.
I mean, it did pretty well last time, to be fair. I mean, let's face it, it took out Captain Shredderator, who was a pretty of a nasty spinner. It took out Bite Force, which was the champion at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it lost to Yeti, which was basically one of the few machines that could have really done it a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's. I just hope it doesn't tip over as much. That's really all I'm thinking about. Because all I can remember from its fights is it flailing on its side continuously.
Mm-hmm. Anderson, anything to add?
You know my thoughts on Chomp. No, in all fairness, it's a good overaxe. It's a good good overhead weapon. You know me, I like axes. And when it gets the job done, it gets the job done. It's just there was a little bit too little control last time, and if they sorted that, we could have a dark horse here, definitely. I think.
Chomp is pretty scary when that axe gets going. We'll have to wait and see. Next up is Whiplash. They entered last season.
Love it.
Sorry.
Love it. Sorry.
Well,
he just love it.
I mean, I also adore this thing. You know, it entered last season under Splatter. This is the much more refined version that they took to Robo Games. I think they came top 4. I think, didn't they? I want to say so. I want to say they did very well. They did very well, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't quite remember, and with college, I don't remember anything about Robo Games.
but it has to be said,
it's all fallen out of my head.
Whiplash is exceptional. It looks the part. It's got a big honking wedge at the front. It's got a great, spinner on a lifter. What? It's just.
I know, it's beautiful.
It's just excellent. I cannot wait to see this go. I think last time Splatter was very unlucky. Whiplash, once again, another dark horse, could really, really do a number on a few teams.
There's a lot of dark horses in your race.
There really are. There's 56 horses. There's a few in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything to add, Steve?
I don't know. I mean, it's Mr. Vasquez has a beautiful machine, and I mean, it's definitely has a lot of like prowess, you know, like it has that background of being really successful. So hopefully, you can bring it to the TV stage, you know.
Yep. Anderson?
I'm in love with it. I think it's a fantastic idea. You know, it's got a bit of everything in there. It's got, you know, control-based aggression driving because of the four-wheel drive. It's got a big spinner. It's got a lifter. It's original at the same time as being something that's a safe idea. It's really well thought out.
It's all things for men, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. They better win, otherwise I'll be upset. I'll quit.
Oh. That's it. I'm done. See ya.
I'm out, boys. It's it. We'll move on to Bite Force, which looks like it literally has just been pulled out of the shed and is coming back to fight because it's still
like
got
Mohawk.
it's just really got paint. It's got like dirt marks on the front. It's got the paint on the bar is still missing, but
It's napalm. It's pulling a napalm.
But it has to be said, apparently Bite Force has a new weapon set up for this season, which is instead of the usual E-Tech drive, it's running with 4 mag motors. What?
That's insane.
It's absolutely. What would you say? What the Brits would say? It's absolutely mental, and that's exactly what it is.
I mean,
how are you gonna keep that thing on the ground?
Magnets, lots of magnets. I can't wait to see it. It's it's gonna be great.
Also, I see you, Rob Masick. You snuck on this team, dastardly.
Sneaky boy.
You see, last time, season 2, we all were a bit upset that Bite Force came back just a generic spinner, front spinner, because everyone else did it. We should do it this time around. We missed the grabber. This time they've taken that basic idea of having a spinner and they've made it their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of respect for them for that, especially with the amount of power. I mean, it's very brave of them. Some might say stupid. But some might say
could totally just blow up.
I mean, they are
Exactly.
they are of course former champions.
This could do it again. They could regain their championship if it works.
I mean, they are former champions. Could they reclaim it?
I know. I mean, it's and like I said, it's a big if. But if it does work, I think they could do it. I'm not going to turn around and say that they're my favourite to win because obviously that means they're going to lose. But no, I'm not going to sit around and say that because at the end of the day, it's too much of a big if for my liking. But like I said, if it works, it could do really well.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to, I think, probably one of the most aesthetically pleasing machines in the whole field, really, this time around, is Hypershock. It's so bright.
Yeah, Will Bales has entered a Tonka truck into BattleBots.
As well as that, I have to say, absolutely digging the race suits. That's phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
But it's just, I mean, the cameras are going to hate this thing. It's neon yellow.
Beautiful. And you know how earlier you said that Minotaur was your pick? This is my pick.
Oh, really?
Yes, I think that they're very, very unlucky the last 2 series, especially last time around. I mean, they really were a very destructive machine. So it would be nice to see them actually get a championship. And I think if it works right, it will do it. So
and hopefully we get to see #Hypebreak.
Oh, but they have got it. They have got one. So hopefully we do get to see it again. That'd be wonderful. I would love to see Hypershock bring out the Hypebreak again. Mm-hmm. There's not much to say about Hypershock. There's the same sort of principle, except it's all aesthetics now. It's less serious. To me, it seems less serious and more good fun, and it looks the part. That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
A robot which is very similar to Hypershock, has to be said, in terms of design, is Witch Doctor.
Well, they're not too far from each other. They're both in the Miami area, so
yeah. I wonder if Witch Doctor underneath is an old Hypershock. Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it
and
could easily be, yeah.
But Witch Doctor, that I love the back armor. That skeleton effect, it's just so good. It's it's got a nice stream mech as well. It's got that big honking wedge again. Witch Doctor's very aesthetically pleasing this time around as well.
I think they've also got the design a bit more down to a T. I think. I think being wider than it was longer sort of didn't really benefit it much.
Mm-hmm.
Being a pushing, well, I mean, say pushing, it's a spinner, obviously, don't get me wrong, but again, it's 4-wheel drive with a spinner, so it's got a good amount of force behind it as well. I think that this time around, again, they could be a good pick to actually win this time around.
And that's coming from someone who's not a Witch Doctor fan.
I know, I'm not a massive Witch Doctor fan, but then again, that was the old Witch Doctor. This new Witch Doctor I'm actually quite liking. And to be fair, it's the only robot so far that I know of to manage to snap Tombstone's bar in half, so, you know, they do have a chance.
It's true. We shall see. Hopefully they'll have a bit of better luck than last time where they fought this robot quite conveniently.
One quick note about Witch Doctor. Where is Shaman?
Shaman is retired.
That's what I mean. So they were able to use what weight Shaman was into the robot. So maybe that's why you like it more, Anderson. It's beefier.
Yes.
Good shout. That's actually a good shout. It's a shame that we're not going to see Shaman this time. I know there was a little Shaman memorial there at BattleBots this time around, where people could like leave flowers and shit for it, which is fantastic. I love that. Yeah, it's great. Red Devil.
Onward. Yes.
Steve, I think this is your favorite, isn't it? You love
this is my favorite robot from the reboot, just by far. I just love its aesthetic. It's got like that animal quality. The tracks are beautiful. The fact that one claw closes slightly faster than the other gives it that animalistic quality, and it's like, oh, it killed Witch Doctor, which made me want to cry. But besides that, I love it to pieces. It's
so good. It's so good. Obviously, no Jerome Miles this series because was it Jerome Miles? It was, wasn't it?
Yes, and he is elsewhere.
Yeah, he was in China with Red Devil's brother, cousin, I guess.
Twice removed cousin, sister, brother,
in-law. There you go.
The team's town is amazing. Spanish Fork. What the?
They're from Spanish Fork as opposed to Italian Spoon.
Yeah. See, we have butter fork. See.
Every Spanish person, every Mexican person has just clicked off the video now.
Gone. There goes your demographics.
God damn it.
A robot called Spanish Fork.
You make it, Anderson.
The rake on Hypershock should be called the Spanish Fork. I've just thought about it. Yeah. Sorry, the robot. Yeah. Red Devil. Yes. Beautiful, fit, bay. What more do you need me to say?
That's pretty much it. Double Jeopardy. Entirely new team, as far as I'm aware. I believe it's a canon. What?
Yeah, this will be a first of its kind.
It's a canon.
Yeah.
It looks. I mean, I just don't know what to make of it.
It's over there now.
No, I believe it is tethered.
If it's not tethered, that would be completely groundbreaking.
Oh yes, it's
all it says is shooter.
But it is tethered, yes.
Okay.
I mean, look how suave the team captain looks.
They are looking funky fresh. I mean, he's loving the tie.
Dapper gentleman.
They just look the part, don't they? I think Double Jeopardy is really nice. It's out there. It's a bit different. What more can you say?
They're cosplaying as the main character from the Hitman series.
They are. All three of them.
Because I think there was one robot in the original BattleBots which also had tethered weaponry. I can't remember its name. I think it was something oceanic, like Atlantis or Aquaman or something along those lines. And it had 5 harpoons, which is pretty cool. It didn't do very well, obviously, but
can't imagine why.
No. Fingers crossed though for Double Jeopardy, because again, it's originality, Yeah. Yeah, okay, maybe a box, but hey, they've taken that design and they've done something with it. It's not just here's a box. There you go. What do you fucking do? So,
well, next robot. I don't think they've ever actually done it much. I believe it's called what's it called? Last Rites. Tombstone, of course, our current BattleBots champion and former runner-up as well. What do we think then, boys? Can it defend the title?
Sticker.
I think it's going to pull a carbide and do second, first, second.
Oh, really?
So, Yeah, I have a feeling that in order to appease the robot combat gods, we need to have that happen over here.
Well, of course, if we remember back to Carbide's title defense in season 10 or series 10, sorry, that was embarrassing.
Of course, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you watching this if you haven't seen it? With Carbide, it seemed like their heat was very much stacked against them. I wonder if they'll do the same to Tombstone here, where like the opponents that they'll face are more difficult than, say, your average team.
They have definitely changed it. I mean, they've. Is it me or is it looking a bit smaller this time around?
I don't know because
I don't know if it might be this perspective that's kind of tricking us here.
I mean, it has to be.
It does seem a little shorter.
It has to be said.
I know they have.
Go on.
The back's now straight. It had like a point on the back, but now it's just flat back.
I think it had flat back last time.
It was flat back in season 2. In season 1, it had the sort of like coffin shape.
Sorry, it was. Sorry, I'm being stupid. But that bar spin is definitely looking a lot more thicker now.
It has to be. Well, it is heavier because obviously we didn't actually mention this. Another rule that was changed for season 3 is there is a tip speed limit now in BattleBots of 250 mile an hour, much like Robot Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to keep the energy the same, the bars have all been made heavier. So you might be right there, Anderson. He might have made it a little bit shorter to compensate for the weight of a bigger bar. It's going to be fascinating to see. You know, I'm interested to see how Tombstone does because obviously last time it did struggle to the title. It won eventually, but it did struggle. I wonder how it will fare this time around.
THICC.
Pretty much. That's.
I'm gonna just leave that, and that's it.
I think it's time to be on from Tombstone to a polar opposite, really.
Yeah. I want you to try to say this word.
Shaka Prien.
Good. That's about as far as I got.
Yep. It's.
Oh, I thought it was Sharkorpion. Sorry. I'm
exactly. It looks like Sharkorpion. That's what I thought.
But it's Shaka Prien.
What?
It's the I and the O are the wrong way around.
Oh goodness.
As well
this
as that.
This is basically Crash and Nasher in the future. This is what
this is. It's Snookums.
Snookums. I remember Snookums.
It's Snookums mating with Crash and Nasher.
It's got
There's a lot of mating going on this season.
It's a big disc. I also love the job title for Edward D. Robinson, the captain. Successfully retired sword swallower. What?
Well, I mean, if you're going to enter a robot like that, you need to have a good job application.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, it's just brilliant. I mean, come on, it's
beautiful.
It's
got a great amount of personality.
It's a big old fish.
Yep.
There's only one real problem I have with it.
Go on.
I think that disc is a little bit hidden. Is it just me?
I think that's the idea, though. Like the idea is just to have it just enough poking out so that it doesn't like wipe itself out.
Fair enough. It just means it has a very small range of attack. That's the only worry I have about it. But I mean, to be honest, let's be honest, it's not going to win.
But it's not as bad as Angel of Death. You know, that's all out.
Well, I mean, Angel of Death, I've had its disc, let's be fair, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, we'll move on to a robot which I actually really liked in Season 2, but this time around I'm just kind of like, what happened? It's SubZero. SubZero I thought looked really cool last time, and now I just think it looks a bit meh.
Yeah, I agree.
It lost a lot of its spiky bits.
I mean, it reminds me of Stormforce.
A bit, if it was less cylindrical and more
boxy,
trapezoidal.
I think what they're trying to, because like last time they had like a Toro-esque flipper, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And this time they've got it so it's just the front bit lifting up, a bit like Rhino from Series 7 of Robot Wars. They've got these new, it looks like side arms to self-right, I guess.
Yep. In fairness, it's pneumatic lifter is fairly different in BattleBots, so you might actually see it do quite well, but don't really know.
As cool as it did.
No.
Yeah, it's not going to be up against Ice Wave. Hopefully, you know that's one of those things where it's like that was the perfect storm for something like that. Slab sides, you know, here comes a blade. I mean, so hopefully they don't get drawn against something like that. I feel like we really didn't get to see a whole lot of it last time. So there's a lot of unknown right now about SubZero. So I mean, we'll see. But I mean, it's maybe it's good that we're not expecting a lot from it, so that actually when it does something, we'll be like, oh my god. So, you know.
It's you know, it's there. You know, SubZero, it's not exactly terrible, is it? But it doesn't look too inspiring. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on. We have Blacksmith. Everyone's favourite banhammer from last time around is back. Even look, it looks bulky now, doesn't it? It looks thick.
I love all of the border work on this. It's just really, because last time, looking at the old design of Blacksmith, it felt very. I can't describe it as anything other than like really smooth on the outside. This one has more like it has more texture. It has more detail that really just kind of adds on to that whole aesthetic of this kind of like middle ages blacksmith. You know.
Yeah,
it's got a lot.
Go on.
I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say it's got a lot more personality to it as well this time around. Like last time, it was very boxy. This time they made it more compact.
A lot of angles as well. Yeah,
a lot of angles. And you know, I mean, okay, Blacksmith wasn't exactly the best robot last time around, but it was different.
It has a flaming axe head. I mean, Thor tried that with the Rotator fur, didn't it? But
yeah, exactly. A flaming axe head is always going to be cool in my books, you know, no matter how bad it does. And to be honest, I mean, like I said in our season 2 video, Blacksmith was very well engineered. I mean, it was one of the most reliable machines ever. It took a heck of a beating from Minotaur. And yeah, okay, eventually it spontaneously combusted, but before that, it did withstand the pressure really well.
They were so unlucky last time. I mean, let's face it, who did they fight? They fought Bronco and Minotaur. That's not exactly a nice pair of fights, is it, really?
That's a pretty poor draw. That's about almost as bad as it can get.
Yeah.
I mean, it could get worse if you threw Tombstone in there.
True. But there's not much worse than that, is there, really?
Yeah, and the whole fact, I really hope that the hammer head does not fall off this time.
Me too. It looks a lot more sturdy, doesn't it?
I would sure hope so.
Now,
fingers crossed, we'll see them do well.
The next robot is one of my biggest disappointments to this series. It really is, and I'll tell you why. It's Brutus. Now, Brutus last time, it wasn't, you know, terrible. It was pretty good. You know, it had a nice looking design. It was a lucky and drew Tombstone, and that's what cost it. Where's the flare guns? Where's the original?
That's your disappointment. Where's the flare? Where's the flash, man?
I mean, it's literally a box with a wedge and a spinner. How?
This is what I'm talking about. The whole cookie cutter. Let's stick a disc on something.
How? How unoriginal is it?
This is basically BattleBots. That's basically essentially it's that. I mean, if you could sum up BattleBots with one robot, this would be it.
Mm-hmm. But they are successful, and you know why they're made.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, I get why it's been done. I get it, but I was expecting so much more.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of it, but at the same time, I mean, simplicity and basicness
wins titles.
It usually goes well.
Yeah, it could do well. You know what? It's not a battle machine. You know, don't get me wrong. I don't take anything away from the team or anything else. You know, it's a perfectly acceptable machine. But where's the flair? You see those robots for like robo games or something like that. Yeah, I get that. It's for winning a competition, sure. But if you're doing it for TV, where's let's throw a bit of showmanship in there. Let's throw a little bit of
And they did last time. They totally did last time.
They had the flare guns. They were wonderful. They were fired, and obviously they caught Mobius and made it self-destruct, which would have been incredible. But obviously they didn't. It was just themselves self-destructing.
Mobius wrote its own death certificate.
But you know what I mean. It looked cool in the process. And
yes.
And I feel like it's a shame that we're not going to have that this time from Brutus. I hope that it does the damage to back up the simplicity for my 2 cents anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
We'll move on to one of my favourites from this series as well, Petunia. Now this robot was originally called Pacifier. It comes from the Pulverizer team from the original Robot Wars. Pacifier obviously was very similar. I believe they tried to apply to one of the Robot Wars series and they had to pull out due to issues.
I think it was Series 8, but I'm not too sure.
I actually want to say 9. I don't know. It was one of them anyway, and they've finally got it ready for BattleBots, and it looks great, doesn't it? Doesn't it look good?
It looks good, and I'm looking forward to seeing these guys again because they were again. I mean,
they dressed as Elvis.
What?
They dressed as Elvis.
I know.
Well, they got the
Well, like
they
I
have
said,
the jackets,
in
if
the UK,
nothing
we
else.
had Dietor and Tachrome a lot. In the Dutch wars, you had these guys.
And they
In
won!
the first series, they dressed up like prison convicts, and in the second series, they dressed up like Elvis.
And they won!
You know? But what I really like about them is that they build these really good robots, but they still have fun.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of teams, they built a really good robot, they didn't really dress up, or they didn't, you know, have a comedy act or anything like that. These guys did both.
Mhm.
Pacifier qualified for Series 9.
There you go.
Damn it!
Yes! Score 1 for me.
Hey.
Still no point you though.
But Judy is great, and I can't wait. You know, it looks good as well because it's got that really nice, you know, wedge and angled front to deflect spinners. So that could be really good. You know, again, it's a crusher, a bit different. Could do quite well if it can take a few hits, which I think it should be able to. So fingers crossed for them.
The only thing about it I don't really like is I don't think it's got that much reach on the crusher. I don't think it's got much space to crush into anything.
I think that is quite low down, so it can lift quite high.
It's a really steep wedge too. For the crusher, but apparently, according to what they list here, it's the largest hydraulic cylinder ever put into a combat robot. So that's foreboding.
Bigger than even Spectre.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll move on. We'll move on to Mecha Rampage. The same guys that brought us Overdrive and Overdrive 2. Christian,
what in sweet hell is this?
I don't understand. I'm so confused. What is it? It's a giant spinner in between two sets of wheels. Apparently all three parts are independently driven. What?
Yeah, Christian Karlberg had a fever dream and just said, this is what we're bringing.
It suddenly came to him one night in his sleep, and this is it.
Yeah, it's definitely, and this is what we're talking about. Like, this is just out of the wall. Like, this is just eyes pop out. It's just kind of like, what?
What was he thinking?
I don't know, but I want to see it do something. Like, this excites me. Stuff like this, like, this is just completely bonkers.
Yeah, Anderson.
Originality at its finest. What more can I say?
Yeah.
More power to them.
I have to say, the only thing that disappoints me about this robot is the name. Mecha Rampage. I feel like there could have been more from that.
Well, what would you have called it?
Robot.
I don't know, but wouldn't they call it that? I don't know. One of those, isn't it, really? Yeah. We'll move on.
Bonkers. You call it that?
Just call it bonkers. Yeah, that's fine. We'll move on to Endgame. Now, these chaps are from New Zealand. Oh yes. I don't know how many teams there actually are from New Zealand, but
Not many.
Not many at all. And it's not a bad looking machine, is it?
Yeah. Let me wait. I'm catching a whiff of something.
Is it cookie?
I'm smelling aftershock.
Yes. It is very aftershock, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a very good attempt for a first machine. Or a very good machine for a first
I believe it's their first heavyweight. I believe it's their first heavyweight.
Yeah, because New Zealand and Australia, they only really do lower weight classes, and they're not exactly what you call major competitions either.
Mm-hmm. But this is a cracking look at, it's bright orange at the front as well. The team loving their mirrored sunglasses. I can dig it. It's you know what? It's a fearsome looking
name
thing
as well, actually. Endgame. I don't know. I just like that name.
They look like a fun-loving team. I hope that they go back to New Zealand with something to take home with them. It's a nice looking thing, and I hope that they have a good bit of luck on this one.
Hopefully, they can help New Zealand and Australia get some much more higher impact robot combat shows.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great to see if they could.
Because it's pretty big down there. I mean it's a. Was it Robo Wars down there? Robo Wars Australia is totally a thing down there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I don't know. Last time I checked any robot combat in Australia, there was just a bunch of featherweight stuff that was like there was like 3 people in the audience and that was it.
Huh. It's getting there.
Yeah, but they need the exposure. Maybe they can talk about it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We have stuff back home. Well, I mean they're from New Zealand. That's not the same country, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That area,
Well,
Oceania.
Think about it. I mean, Belgium and the Netherlands, they often collaborate with Robot Combat because their governing body's the same for both of them.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Deviled Egg.
I'm not hungry, Sam. I'm not. I don't want your green eggs and ham.
I mean, the one thing I have to talk about here is the loading device. Look at that.
That is art.
I mean, they should have entered that in the arena. That'd have been amazing. It's great, and then Devil's Egg is your fairly typical drum spinner. I do like the carving around the edges. That looks quite nice. It's your fairly standard drum spinner, but the loading machine. Yeah. Look at the state of that.
Yeah, without the loading machine, it is a very basic looking drum spinner. It's not too outside from like what I see at Beetleweight competitions, just bigger.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame. It's a shame because with such a big loading device, you'd expect something very miraculous and spectacular. And I'm not saying it won't be miraculous and spectacular, but it is very, very basic.
But again, as we said before, basic can win things. So Devil's Egg.
Exactly. Well, basic is a safe thing because it does work well.
Yeah, and as we said again, the team looking very great in their get-up, and it's nice to see that they're having a bit of fun with the costumes and such. So that's great to see. That's great to see as well. Yes. Next up is a robot we did like last time around. We didn't really get to see much of it, sadly, because it got beaten in the first round, and that was it. Is Ultimo Destructo, returning from the last season, and I do like their description of the Swiss Army bot. They've got a flipper, a hammer, a vertical spinner, a horizontal spinner, and a kitchen sink.
There you go. See,
I vote kitchen sink.
With the horizontal spinner, it looks like original Sin and Tombstone.
I was just going to say, yeah, it looks very similar to those kinds of blades, and I guess don't break it if it's not broken, Don't fix it if it's not broken. Gosh.
Yeah, it's true.
I can't even say it right.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
I say this now. Create original Sin. Please put a functioning weapon on original Sin so you can enter BattleBots. Thank you.
Well, maybe we'll see that soon. Ooh.
I love original Sin. Sorry, I do. I think it's a fantastic machine.
No, but we will see that soon. Ooh.
Spooky. But anyway, Ultima Destructo is... I really think it got...
It got unlucky last time, didn't it?
Yes, and I mean, it lost to the Ringmaster, and I mean, I've seen that fight. It really kind of killed itself.
Yeah, it did.
It took a couple hits from Ringmaster, but nothing that would have I don't think would have really conked this thing out too easily. It's changed quite a bit. It's quite a bit longer. It's almost like he went for the really wide approach and now is going really long. It's a complete opposite of chassis design. But it's still very low. Ground clearance is a little high. But I have higher hopes for this one. What little footage we have of it, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, it's true. We'll fingers crossed for him. I think he's done well in the past in BattleBots, so we'll see how Ultimate Destructo gets on. Next up, all stand for BattleBots royalty, Donald Hudson, and he seems to have stolen Witch Doctor. I don't know about you guys.
Or Hypershock.
Yeah, Hypershock. I was going to say,
yeah. It's Lockjaw, of course, but Lockjaw now sporting a giant spinner at the front.
See, that disappoints me.
Yeah, me too. I'll be honest with you. It's a shame. I don't mind it so much, but I enjoyed it.
Donald Hudson is known for making some of the most extravagant robots ever. He made Tazbot, for God's sake, which was a spinning hammer lifter.
Yeah.
He made Dissector, which had a weapon, which had jaws and hammers, which meant that the robot could actually use his weapons whether upside down or not.
Yeah.
Lockjaw was really cool and interesting, and you can't call it a Lockjaw, not have a jaw on it.
Yeah. Both of them. One of them had you had the flipper. The flipper Lockjaw was even what?
I know, but this is just as far. I mean, again, I understand basic. Yep, that works. I understand that, but I was expecting something a bit more from Donald. I'm not going to lie.
I will say, I can understand why he's gone with the spinner approach because let's face it, it's the way to go for if you want to win. And obviously Donald does want to win because he's done it several times with Dissector in the past. He's done well with Tazbot before.
Yeah, he should have entered Gear Crow. Do you guys know what Gear Crow is?
No.
It's a walker. Just throw it in the BattleBots wiki. It's got dissector jaws and it's a walker.
Oh wow!
What was that? Sorry, what robot was that?
Gear Crow, Gearcrow. Hopefully I spelled that right.
Gear Crow, sweet. I'm checking this bad boy out.
Yeah, it may be easier to pick up on the. Also, sorry everybody.
Oh
but
wow,
totally
it looks amazing. Oh
yeah,
wow,
it's beautiful. I think it's too heavy.
Come on, Wiki,
but
work for me,
it's a
baby.
dinosaur.
it's a dinosaur. So that like, those are the kinds of things that like I know him for making, and I kind of see a little bits of that in this version of Lockjaw, but I do miss the jaws. I'm partial to them. I'm sorry.
How do you spell it again?
But Gear
Gear.
Crow, all one word.
Gear crow, as in bird.
Yes, I get that.
Caw.
but I'm dyslexic. Leave me alone. How do you spell gear? That's what.
Gear.
Oh yeah, I got it. That is pretty dank. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So that's like what I think when I think of Donald. You know, like it's like he builds these really like these. I maybe that's why I like Red Devil so much, because it's got like that animalistic quality. It looks like it came out of the depths of the jungle or hell or both.
So. Hopefully Lockjaw could do well. You know, I was a bit disappointed last time that it didn't actually win a fight, did it? So.
No, it didn't.
So fingers crossed for Donald. You know, he deserves better. We'll move on to Warrior Dragon. No longer Warrior Clan. I believe that's a sponsorship thing. I don't entirely know for certain, but apparently that's a sponsorship deal.
I'm gonna go to utter. What is that?
Uttergun.com. No, do not do
What
it.
is it?
It's literally a gun to milk cows.
Okay. Yep.
Jesus.
Everybody. So there you go. That's gonna wipe over your TV screens.
Because they developed them. They developed them.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it's not cool, but I didn't expect to see that. I guess I should read more into. I should have read the word and thought, oh.
Yeah, Uttergun. It's basically the same, except they've now got a drone and a mini bot at the same time.
Yep.
Don't really know what to make of that, but yeah. Yeah.
Again, I think it's just weight they're stealing from Warrior. But I mean, what else could they do? I guess they'd have to. They could make Warrior bigger, or beef it up, or something.
Yeah, they could do.
Because they have the. I mean, the Waiachi team, they have the experience of totally doing that. They got a whole machine shop at their feet.
Well, yeah, of course they do. So, moving on from Warrior Dragon, as it's now called, we move on to Basilisk, a team which they were in Season 2, but they weren't really there. They were I think they were reserves, I believe.
Yeah, they were in the pilot episode. They were in that one fight in the pilot episode. I think the one with Blacksmith in it.
All right, okay. It looks quite interesting. It looks. I don't know if it's a lifter of some kind. I don't know. I don't entirely know. It looks the part though. I like the nice decals on it.
I think it's a Toro-esque flipper, but
yes.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it
so,
is.
It looks pretty sexy actually. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker for snake-themed machines because I love snakes. So, and to be honest, I mean Toro was good. You never know. This might be a potential winner. You know, an unheard hero. You never know. I doubt it, but
obviously we didn't get to see it properly last time, did we? Which is a bit of a shame because it certainly looks the part. So maybe this time, who knows? We might get to see a bit more of a Basilisk and hopefully maybe a bit stronger than it was last time around. We shall move on to last year's runners-up. The new Bombshell, which is a damn looker if I do say so myself, but I know that, obviously due to time constraints, I think Mike Jeffries only has the one weapon this time around, which is the vertical spinner. A bit of a shame, I'm sure you'll all agree, but it's still a damn fine-looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah, oh man, it's still a pretty bot. I mean, it's gone for the more simpler route, going for the kinetic energy spinner. I mean, it would have been cool for him to bring more variety like he did last time, but for something that I think this is more of like they're trying to build off what was really successful last time, and that vertical spinner last time was really the one that did the business.
Considering that thing took out Minotaur, Poison Arrow, and Red Devil, I think it was definitely the right way to go.
Yeah, that was the evolution.
Yeah, definitely. They could have gone with the axe, but no, I don't think so.
I have to say,
I would say. Oh, sorry, go on. You go first.
My only thing is, I would love to see Mike take this version of Bombshell and like expand on it, much like the Season 2 one with like the multiple weapons and such, because that was a really cool concept. I don't think there's many, as the Americans call them, Swiss Army bots around. Not even in the UK, there's not many. So it was really cool to see a modern take on the interchangeable weaponry front.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, I mean, I personally didn't like the look of Bombshell in the first one before it was cool because of the versatility. This time around, it hasn't got the versatility, but it looks better. So they just need to put the two together, and then I'll be happy. But
how can you not be happy with this? It's amazing.
No. It looks good. Don't get me wrong, but I just like you. I would rather see some bit more versatility with it, to be honest. But to be fair, like you said, they definitely went with the safe route and the correct decision, in my opinion, because it's the weapon that worked best for them.
Yep.
Can they? Can they go one step further? I don't know. But only time will tell.
I think you can clearly see where they're thinking, okay, let's have a massive wedge on to make sure that we don't get hit by the likes of Tombstone or the likes of a nasty horizontal. It just looks the part. I think it could be the one, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what you think, Steve. Could it go all the way this time?
It's hard to say. It had it did have a little bit of luck on its side last time.
Yes.
It all depends on who it's drawn against.
I say who didn't? Let's face it.
True.
Tombstone were quite fortunate that Beta kind of lost their axe, and fortunate that they flipped over so that they could hit their axe mount. So.
Right. And they were lucky that Minotaur died when they did. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's one of those things where maybe they'll have a chance, but time will tell, and I wish them the best.
Absolutely, Mike seems like a really cool guy, so hopefully for him, I would love to see Bombshell do well. But we must move on. We must move on to one of the most experienced teams in all of BattleBots, and is the return of the mighty flipper Bronco. Now, going back and watching Season 1 and 2 for the reviews that we've done and we are going to do for Season 2, obviously we've kind of started that, but Season 3 took precedence. Bronco is a robot I'm enjoying more the more I watch it. It's just such a spectacular machine.
It's everything that the Matador should have been, in my opinion. It's pretty. I love this style of flipper anyway. I've always been it's always been a guilty pleasure of mine. Well, I say guilty pleasure. It's always been I've been a sucker for them. I loved Seros. I loved Scraptosaur. I loved Toro. I loved T-. I love Bronco. They're very powerful. It looks really good as well, and to be honest, it wouldn't be BattleBots without them. I think we can all agree on that.
That is a very good point. I think you look at BattleBots and they've won before. Did they win the lightweights and the super heavyweights with them?
They won the middleweight and the super
middleweight. Middleweight. That's it.
It was middleweight season 5 and super heavyweight season 4, I believe.
So surely it's now time to add a heavyweight title to their.
They have championship pedigree.
Yeah, I like how they've added this sort of side protection to the rear wheels. So, if they do lose the front wheels, which happened last time, they've got the protection there.
Well, we know how side protection goes. Like the first time this robot came out, and Tombstone ripped them off, and then with no protection, they lost all their wheels. So it's like, what's the happy medium? Let's just protect half of them.
Well, I think Bronco's certainly a machine with a lot of potential. I really would like to see them do well. Will they do well? It's going to be tough with, a lot of the machines have kind of evolved. Bronco, you look at Bronco in Season 3, it still looks very similar to what it is in Season 1, but I'm sure underneath that machine there's a lot going on that's new, so we'll have to wait and see how they get on. We shall move on. We shall move on to Captain America's Shield.
Yes!
Captain Shredderator, looking much more swish than it has done in the last 2 seasons, it has to be said. And it is literally Captain America's shield.
Yeah. What's interesting is that this is a Brian Nave-less Captain Shredderator.
He was in China when this was being filmed, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. We're seeing more effects of the Chinese tournament happening at the same time as BattleBots.
Mm-hmm. Captain Shredderator with I'm guessing the junior team, bring it to the fore. I really like the look of this. It looks the part. Again, much like
it looks stunning.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was just agreeing with you. Sorry, go ahead.
From my 2 cents, Captain Shredderator looks really swish. It's nice and low, and it's got the angled side to make it difficult for things to get a hold of it. Like say Stinger, the Killer Bee did in Season 1. Shredderator this time looks the part.
Yeah, it's always been one of those bots that's been in the mix, but it's just one of those that just. This is a limitation of a shell spinner. Is like it's its own worst enemy. Where it's how do I put it?
It's a glass cannon.
Let's put it this way: if it gets flipped, it's done. There's no way to get it back up.
It is beans on
yeah.
toast, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the whole robot is a weapon, so like once it's done, it's pretty much a sitting duck. Mm-hmm. So it rounds about entirely of it being spinning all the time. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's previous iterations like as Frisbee, and I guess if we go further back, the Revolutionist, and I mean, this is the evolution of that whole design. But I don't know. I mean, I've kind of been like iffy on shell spinners my whole life, because it seems like it's the whole bot is a weapon, which is cool when it's spinning. But the thing is, I have a soft spot for bots like Ziggo and Megabyte. So, but that's like their biggest weakness.
Obviously, last year quite unlucky, weren't they? They were very unlucky to how they went out last time. I think it was Chomp hit it directly on its C controller or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was really, really weird. And it was like, what was it? I think I remember it was like hitting it on and off. Like something kept shorting, turning it on, and then turning it off again. It was very odd.
Very intermittent, wasn't it? I would love to see Captain Shredder do well. As we say, it's a really slick-looking machine. Not that any of the other robots in BattleBots aren't, let's face it, they all are. But it's Captain Shredder looks the part, and it looks like it's got a bit of showmanship to it, and I would love to see it do well. But obviously, it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of good competition in there. Anderson, anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to say I really hope they do well as well, because they deserve it. Again, they are a very long-serving team. They had Frisbee, like you mentioned, in BattleBots. They had Revolutionist in Gabriel Wars Extreme Warriors. They've been going for years, and they've always had bad luck. And it would be nice to see them actually do it right for a change. Really do well. But time will tell. Robot combat is sadly a cruel mistress.
It is indeed. And our next robot is actually called Double Dutch and not brought to us by a Dutch team. Who would have thought that?
Illuminati confirmed. There we go.
Twin bar spinners of Undercutter and Overcutter and Invertible. What do you reckon of this, lads? I reckon, for my 2 cents, there seems to be a lot going on, and I fear that because there's a lot going on, there's a lot that can go wrong.
Yeah, but I just want to see it fight something so bad.
Yeah, so I personally think that this is going to be, like you said, there's too much going on, but it's going to be pure spectacle. We're going to see sparks flying here, there, and everywhere. It's a really cool idea. It's one of those no one's thought to do it, but then you think about it and you think, how effective is it going to be in the arena? And then you think, I can see why no one's done it.
Exactly.
One thing about undercutters is that the tolerances have to be really tight and the floor has to be perfectly flat, or this is going to have issues.
Yes, if there's a few fights where the floor gets dented, then they're in trouble.
Yeah.
With the amount of kinetic energy spinners there are in BattleBots this season, there's a good chance it won't be. It looks nice. I have to say that it looks really slick. The 2 bars nicely machined out of one piece of material, I think, as well, which is really cool. How effective is it going to be? I don't know, because I think they spin opposite ways. So, like, if somebody gets caught in the middle, it's going to get hit from the bottom on one side and then the top on the other.
What kind of what's the size of the bite that they're going to have? Yeah,
exactly. So, for my 2 cents, I think it's a nice concept, but yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it like winning too many fights. But I've been wrong before. I've been very wrong before. So I wish them all the best. I think it's
that's a good robot.
Oh, shut up. well, we'll leave that one there. We'll move on to I think it's collectively one of our favourite robots in BattleBots Season 3, or the 2018 season. It's now being called. Free shipping. Good God. I mean,
Amazon has an opening, and it's this guy.
Gary Jin. Okay, with respect to Original Sin, it's not the most interesting of machines, is it? Let's face it. It's literally a wedge on wheels.
It's fast though.
It is, but
I love it.
This interests me.
I know. What I love, is because Original Sin, as you said, is a wedge on wheels. Now, I love Original Sin. I think it's a great machine. I personally find it pretty entertaining, but that's just me. But it's like, obviously, the rule is, you got to have an active weapon. And Gary Jin's just gone, well, you want an active weapon? Here's an active weapon.
And he's literally he's done a cut and shot with a literal forklift and just stuck it on the front. It's amazing.
I would never have. If all my wildest dreams of all the weapons to attach to Original Sin, axe, CO2 spike, or pneumatic spike, lifting arm, spinning disc as usual. I would never in my wildest dreams would have imagined a forklift which would be attached to the front of it. Now, contrary to what I said earlier, I'll admit, it's because I kind of forgot this one existed. This is my pick to win the series.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Original Sin. Original Sin on the live circuit has won practically everything thrown at it. It's one of the best machines out there. Imagine that with a weapon on it. I think this could do well.
You look at Hal Rucker and what he did with Whoops and turning it into Duck, and you're like, okay, those two look fairly similar. You look at this thing in Original Sin, you're like, where is the connection? I also love how. Go on.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, apart from the big wheel sticking out the side.
Well, yeah, that. But as well as that, behind the forklift, there are flamethrowers. It's a flamethrowing forklift truck. What's not to like? I live for free shipping. I really do. I hope it does well. And
I wonder how fast that forklift is moving up and down. So
who cares? It's going to be amazing.
I'm trying to bring some sense back a little bit. It's just such nonsense. I just want to know.
The way this is what Gary Judd has done, right? He's read all the comments on YouTube on all the people going, "Oh, Original Sin's boring, he's not exciting," and he's like, "Okay, I'll make it exciting."
And he has done.
Clip.
I just hope it does well. I think this is one of the most fun robots in the entire series, along with your Huges and your Battle Royales. This is up there, and I honestly can't wait to see it fight. It's going to be so funny. It's just going to be...
Oh, yeah.
I think it's in the premiere episode as well, which is really exciting, so we're going to get to see it pretty early on. Do I think it's going to win? I personally don't. I think it's just going to get absolute... I think it's going to get... If it just gets flipped on its side, it's done, really, isn't it? But, I mean, it's just such a wonderful thing, and I hope it does well. I hope it gets a few wins.
Sam.
I'm sorry, Anderson. I need to, need to make it, Yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on from the wonder that is free shipping. Another returning team, which we didn't get to see last time, is Gemini.
These were another pilot episode that didn't make it through, and it was actually in the same fight as Blacksmith. Actually, this is the same fight with Blacksmith, Basilisk, and Gemini.
Oh well,
Gemini almost squeaked through, and then I think it was Blacksmith lit itself on fire and then came back to life with 3 seconds left and lived on to fight another day.
Oh wow!
But yeah, Gemini.
Gemini is a full cluster, which you don't really see that much anymore, and I think they're fairly identical, which again you don't really see anymore. They've got 2 nice looking spinning discs, wedge at the back to deflect spinners. They look solid.
Yeah, they look really solid. I've people who know me well will know that I'm not a massive fan of the modern clusters. I don't really consider it a cluster bot. I consider it a big robot and a little robot. To me, a cluster bot is simple. A bit like Gemini. This version and the UK.
A bit like another robot with a similar name.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my opinion, 2 halves, 50-50. Go into the arena. I mean, if you're going to do 3 halves, 3 parts, make them work together. Like, for example, V3 in the Dutch Wars. Yes, none of them look like each other, but they all made one robot, which looked like an F1 car, which is really cool.
Yep.
That I'm fine with. It's when, can you really call Terra Turtle in Series 8 a cluster bot? Really? They just put a featherweight. They just put a featherweight next to it. Come on.
Yeah, it was a mini bot rather than a cluster bot, I suppose. Which is kind
of
well,
in that case, what Complete Control last series with the little Chia bot mini bot was a cluster bot.
It's true. It's true.
It's not a cluster bot. I'm sorry. It's just not.
Moving back to Gemini for a second.
Okay.
Obviously, there are 2 very small spinners rather than a big one. Do you reckon that could give them an advantage? Because obviously, featherweights, and obviously this is much heavier than a featherweight, but they can chuck out some serious energy, as we've seen, I think, in King of Bots with Ellis Ware's Neon. Did a fair bit of damage in that pairing with Great White. Do you think that this could be a really good idea? Because, let's face it, they could chuck out a fair bit of energy themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we've already proved that. I mean, featherweights have enough power these days to cause damage to heavyweights. They wouldn't win, obviously, but they have enough power to cause damage to heavyweights. So 2 middleweight-sized machines, I think, would work really well. I think Gemini, UK Gemini, was a bit too early on the scene because it was obviously, it was still not at a point where middleweights could handle heavyweights. now, with modern technology, I think it's much more of a thing. I think that, there's the potential is much higher now.
Yeah.
And I think Gemini US could do quite well here. It looks good, and I think it definitely has potential.
Yeah.
I would agree. It would be interesting to see how they get on. Moving on, we have Gigabyte, very closely related to Megabyte, which obviously took part in King of Bots, and basically the follow-on from Invader, which was broken in BattleBots Season 2. Gigabyte itself, it looks real nice. I like the kind of Technicolor pattern they've got going on. I think it came in the top 4 in King of Bots. So with that said, I reckon this could do very well over in the US as well. It's a damn fine machine.
Yeah, it's the robot that killed Biohazard.
Yep.
So I mean,
let's face it. It is literally Megabyte from obviously the live circuit in the US.
And Super Megabyte.
Yeah, exactly. It is literally that. So I genuinely think this could be a dark horse. Gigabyte is going to be so tough to beat. It's obviously spins very fast. Once again, the whole body is a weapon, and unlike Captain Shredderator, that pole will enable them to self-right.
Very Ziggo. One reason I like Ziggo is it's a shell spinner, but it has solved the problem of being able to get back over.
Yep.
So it is in with a chance, and as long as it doesn't stay on for over an hour, it'll be fine.
Yes. Lest we forget what happened in Season 2.
I just want to say this: is it sponsored by Google or something? What's the color scheme? I don't.
I think it's meant to be like a sort of like a
Google
computer.
Byte.
Google Bot, yes.
I think it's sort of meant to be like the computer colours of like red, yellow, green, and blue.
All right, yeah, fair enough. To be fair, I rate Gigabyte highly here. As long as it works, it could potentially do well. I'd love to see this thing go against Tombstone, because if I'm right in thinking, Megabyte and Last Rites, which are basically the non-BattleBots versions of both these machines, have had a few fights on the live circuit.
Yeah, I'd like to see them fight on TV. I think the world needs to see that.
BattleBots, make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll move on to a former highly rated machine in Season 1. Season 2, it suffered quite a lot, and I think it's, sort of, not its ranking as such, but like its esteem kind of dropped a little bit. I don't see why, because Icewave is damn fine. Icewave is always going to be a scary robot to fight. It has an internal combustion engine powered bar spinner in the middle, nice and low. It's going to cause mayhem, and I love Icewave. It makes a great noise around the arena there as well.
And it really hasn't. I mean, there's probably things that have changed internally, but externally, it's a very similar machine than what we saw in Season 1, with a little bit of paint.
Much like Bronco.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Go on. Icewave is just really, it's a simple design, but it works.
Mm-hmm. So was the middleweight Hazard over here, and see look how successful it was.
I think it win 3 middleweight titles.
Yes, and made it to the final 4 times.
Titles.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anderson.
To be honest, yeah. I mean, what can we say about Icewave that I haven't already said? It kicks ass. It looks good. It sounds good, and it has the potential to do well. What more can you say?
Do we think it can win though?
I'm not sure.
With past experience that we've seen so far, I just see it getting flipped again.
But that's the only issue. They haven't tried to fix that problem, and without
like a roll cage,
My issue
or something.
My issue with Icewave is I think a vertical spinner would just absolutely wreck it. I just really...
Like Nightmare, like last time.
Exactly. Nightmare was the perfect robot to fight that thing, because it just took off the top,
Mm-hmm.
And I think something similar will happen again. But we'll have to wait. I've been wrong before. Icewave is a damn capable machine, and it could do quite well, so we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Mm-hmm.
Moving on is the robot that killed all the super heavyweights in the US. It is, obviously, well, it was
under
Ziggy,
the guise of Ziggy,
but it's now Lucky. Lucky is back, slightly different. It hasn't got the the actual lifting wedge at the front. It's now just got a lifting punching ram in the middle, which I quite like the idea of, and I really like the new sort of wedge, which they finally fixed. They only had one wedge lit last time. They've got a proper wedge this time.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't call it Lucky Canucky, because that's its full name, but. Because the whole Canucks, Canadians,
There must be a reason why.
Oh well.
It looks a lot prettier than the last was as well.
Yeah.
Last season. Last was, sorry.
You committed the sin. You committed the BattleBots original sin.
Oh!
Oh, for God's sake!
Lucky he could be damn
Well,
frightening
please,
in the series.
please read me my last rights and send me down.
Oh dear. Oh dearie me. That wasn't very lucky, was it? Well, back onto lucky. How good do you reckon this could be? Because I reckon, again, slight dark horse maybe, because it's just got... It obviously beat all the super heavyweights in the US live scene. What's to say it can't do the same to the heavyweights and win this whole tournament?
I don't know. I mean, things have moved on since then.
That's true.
You know, this isn't a very... I mean, when it came on, it was a very new design. It was that Biohazard kind of 4-bar linkage lifter. Wasn't slow. It was fast. It would pop you up. I remember seeing videos of this years ago when it came out. I'm like, man, this thing is really cool. But, I mean, it all depends on what it gets drawn up against. I think it could be in with a chance, but it's got a... Especially if it goes up against any of these kinetic spinners, kinetic energy spinners, it may have some trouble with those. But, I mean, if it gets a good hit in, you never know. I mean, weirder things happen. Yeah,
that's very true. Anderson, what do you reckon?
I can see it getting into the 16 bracket, but I can't see it winning. That's no offense to the team.
That's still a decent showing, to be fair.
That's still a decent
showing. Out of 55, 56 robots, that's not bad at all.
I think it can make it to the 16 bracket, but there's just so many new interesting designs, and there's so many good robots in this season that I can't see it personally, but who knows? Good luck to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on to Charles Guard and his beautiful overhaul. I think the outfits as well, which again, very, very pretty. It still has the ears, which I love, by the way. I love the fact that Overhaul has the cat ears on the Crusher. That's fantastic. Overhaul itself, once again, a really nice looking machine. It has that, lift and grab thing that we're missing with Complete Control in this series, unfortunately. Overhaul, again, unlucky last time around. They got 2 tough draws. They faced Cobalt and Beta. There's no shame in losing to either of those 2 machines.
No.
And
not at all.
Overhaul itself is a damn fine robot. It could, again, be quite hard to contend with.
I'd like to see it fight the new Lockjaw to renew that rivalry.
Yes.
Yeah,
please.
that would be cool. For me, it's more of a similar thing with Ice Wave. It is a good machine, but what have they done to improve it to help stop those mistakes from the previous season? Because I'm looking at it now. I mean, obviously I haven't seen it in action, so I can't honestly see what exactly is different. But looking at it now, it pretty much looks exactly the same.
It looks susceptible to being flipped. It looks... I don't know how thick the top armor is. Things we can be more critical of the robots that we've seen previously. So it's... I mean, yeah, I agree with Anderson. I don't know how much has changed. If I know Charles, he'll have changed a lot of things internally. But I mean, yeah, it's still got the blue. I mean, the wedges on the front I think are a little different, but I mean, I don't see a whole lot different from last time.
Yeah, I have to say I do dig the blue. So it's it at least looks the part, and I hope beyond all hope that we do get to see quite a bit of overhaul this series, because it's one of my favourite control bots in the US.
Mostly because we're missing complete control. I need a control bot in my life. Exactly
that. We'll move on to another Dutch entry into BattleBots for this season. It is Reality. This is based off the featherweight Equinox and the beetleweight Bequinox. So why this is called...
we do at least know it fights SawBlaze.
Yes. Thank you for that excellent thumbnail picture, everyone. Ding.
Yep.
It has to be said, Reality looks damn fine, doesn't it?
It does. And of course, they've got the experience as well. I mean, these guys obviously huge Dutch roboteers. Got guys who have been in both Dutch series. One of them entered Tough as Nails. And is also fighting today in the UK with Cobra.
Yeah.
You've also got another guy who was part of the original Gravity team in Series 7.
And the Bash.
And the Bash, of course. Sorry, yes. Team Tyrip. Tyrip. Fantastic team.
Yeah.
And even if they don't do well, it's just good seeing them on TV again. These guys have become Dutch legends as far as I'm concerned, so they deserve television time.
The Dutch guys are good entertainment as well. And this robot, it looks really, really nice. Equinox is very famous for being beaten by an inflatable banana, as well as other things. That is true.
Yeah, I know.
It is true.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, this thing looks so good, doesn't it? It just looks the part. My one worry, is there's no wedge at the front to like guide people onto the spinner.
Yeah.
And anything horizontal will just come along and swipe that off. But I don't care. Aesthetically, this is probably one of the best looking things in the whole tournament. It reminds me of a 4-wheel drive Pulsar.
Yes.
I could see that. Okay, I could totally see that.
Without a wedge, obviously.
Yeah.
It's basic but beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair shout. Yeah. And plus, also spinning drum with 4-wheel drive. I mean, that could be a bit cheeky, couldn't it?
That's what I mean. It seems to be. If it works, don't fix it. I know we've talked kind of about a bunch of robots that are like, oh yeah, that's the standard design now. But I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. We'll move on to Scorpio. So we saw it in a Rumble last time around.
Yep, and it decided to make love with the wall and get stuck.
It did. This is basically not
SawBlaze. Who hasn't done that once in a time?
Yeah, we have all done it. This is not SawBlaze. It's sort of like teal SawBlaze. Even still, it looks good. It's a bit. I think it's a bit smaller, which I don't know if that would be more effective or less effective, because I think SawBlaze's size would probably play to its strengths.
Maybe turning radius would be a little iffy, but
yeah. But Scorpio itself, it looks very neat and tidy, and I think they could be in with a decent shout. Much like SawBlaze, I think we said that was a bit of a dark horse.
And it looks like they stole Overhaul's paint and watered it down.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks nice. I do think Scorpio's at least looks very, very pleasing to the eye, and I think again with a good draw could do quite well. It just depends on who it fights.
Mm-hmm. That's really all it comes down to with any of the ones we've talked about. It all depends on what they're drawn against, and like this, it has the capability to be kind of like a. I mean, we talked about it with SawBlaze before, where it kind of has that SOB quality, but I mean, it doesn't have the. I don't know. Like it seems like the wedges would kind of push robots away, then kind of bring them into the saw.
I know what you mean. Like whereas with SawBlaze, it looks like. It's quite wide and intimidating. This thing looks like...
Yeah, and things can kind of get caught on those little pointy bits, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And in my opinion, I think it's a bit too small for what they're trying to go for. I mean, that's not me being a dick here. I'm just calling it as I see it. I mean, the idea of a dustpan style design is that it's meant to be like a dustpan. It needs to sweep robots up, from around the arena. That's why Robot was so impressive in Series 1, because it just drove around sweeping every robot up that it came across.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's why SOB was so good, because it was wide enough it had the girth, to get a hold of it. It had the girth.
Not going to touch that with a 30-foot pole.
Well, might hope not, wouldn't you, really?
Yeah.
I do like Scorpios, though. It's a really nice-looking little thing, and I think it could do okay, but we'll have to wait and see. Another small...
Is it this team's first attempt? Sorry, quickly. Is it this team's first attempt?
No, they were in last time. They just got unlucky in the pilot episode.
Mm-hmm.
They had a qualifying episode, I think. Yeah, it was against... it was them and Lycan and Mohawk, I believe.
Mate, when you lean for that, you're in trouble. Anyway, sorry.
Mohawk's great. We'll move on to even smaller machine than Scorpios, would you believe, in Tantrum.
Yeah, this thing, it looks like you can fit it in a briefcase.
This thing looks like a featherweight. It's tiny.
Yeah.
Where is the rest of it? It's so small. But I will say, compact normally means, very, very thick armour. Look at your Tantos from the UK, or your Fox 6, for example.
Fox 6, yep.
And this thing is damn small. And it's a flipper, which again we don't really see much of in BattleBots.
With as small of a compact space it is, what kind of compression are they using to get the strength they need?
Yeah, it's very true. I will say again, very small. It does have quite a nice, looking lifting mechanism. But again, I just see a lot of edges where spinners are just going to take things off.
Yeah, well, and it does take after Dave Laurie's robots, what needs the eyes. They don't Google, but they're eyes nonetheless.
Two-Head Deathbringer doesn't have any eyes. Well, it does have small eyes on the old peckers. Tantrum, obviously, borrowing a name from Series 2, which is quite strange, of Robot Wars. Yeah, there's that.
And oddly slightly reddish.
Yeah, maybe they took
Like
inspiration.
an orange, maybe, I don't know.
I doubt it. I think the eyes definitely add I don't know why, but it's a very simple but yet very effective way of adding personality to it.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why. I think it's got quite a lot of personality because of those eyes. in all honesty, though, whilst you can go on about much tougher armor all you want with the robot like this, when a robot's smaller, it's just easier to knock around. And I could just see this. I could just wonder just how far this thing's going to fly when Tombstone hits it. You know what I mean? It's going to Narnia and then back again. But at the same time, it's sort of got that like Tridentate from Series 6 feel to it, or Onslaught feel. It's small, it's under the pressure of the big boys, and to be honest, you kind of hope it does well.
Yeah, it's got a plucky underdog feel to it, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. Weirder things have happened. Nasty Warrior beat Hypnodisc. I'm going to leave it at that. There we go.
Right.
This is very true. This is very true. We'll move on from Tantrum to Warhawk, which is it looks fairly decent. It's got a nice chunky wedge at the front, big vertical disc again, but that motor's exposed. Is that motor just like poking out the top?
Maybe it might just be. Let me see. It is.
Oh, good lord! I will say that I love the front decal on it. It looks super nice. It's like sort of like your Native American Cherokee look, like that sort of stylistic. But with
it kind of takes from their Western Allied Robotics logo, where it has that the bird.
But it's got all like tools and such. Like you got a nut in there, you got a spinning disc in another one of the.
Oh, I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out.
They look
wow.
It looks
that's really cool.
That's a really nice attention to detail. It looks good. It could, it could again, providing it can keep clear of any hammers, it could do quite good. Warhawk, but I think they are first-time competitors in BattleBots itself. How do you rate it for like a first attempt?
Let me say, Rob Farrow actually was in BattleBots with a couple robots. Actually, he was in there with Death by Monkeys as a lightweight, and I think Silverback was a middleweight.
Middleweight.
And so he has some experience. He's been around for quite a while building robots. And was it Kill a Gorilla in Robotica? Yeah.
Yes, Kill a Gorilla.
Didn't Kill a Gorilla make like the final or something? It was.
Yeah, it made the final.
Yeah, it made the final 6. Yeah.
So there's no shame there.
No, not at all. But I mean, it was built in 3 weeks. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean,
that does show a bit. It's again, it's very. I mean, the thing is, I sound like a broken record here. It's very safe.
Yeah.
It's a flat disc robot with
a disc with a wedge.
Yeah,
with a wedge.
We have noticed a bit of a theme this series with a lot of similar machines. You look at your Hypershock, your Lockjaw, and your Witch Doctor. They could all just
your Lock, Shock, and Dock.
Yeah, Lock, Shock, and Dock. That's it.
I'm a bit upset though that with the guy, especially of Rob Farrow's, expertise. I'm surprised that they have got such an exposed weapon motor. I mean, that's absolutely shocking to me. I can't believe that. To be fair, but
maybe let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was incomplete when they took the photo.
Yeah, well, they did only have 3 weeks to build it too, or it was only built in 3 weeks. I don't know how much time they were given.
But, yeah, of course. I mean, building that in 3 weeks, fantastic. Fair play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I couldn't get something like that running in 3 years, let alone 3 weeks.
I've been working on an ant weight for like 4 months. So
and it's still just a CAD design. That's all it is.
Oh dear. We'll move on from Warhawk to a classic. I think it's fair to say it's a classic at this point. The Mighty Warhead, brought to us from Ian Lewis, Simon Scott, and Van the Man, as he's officially known. It does have the head attachment as well as the spinning disc once again, and I think it still looks beautiful to this day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it still fits. It still fits on the scene perfectly.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do that well. I think it's fair to say, but who cares?
Yeah, how much? Again, this is one of those. What have you done for me lately? How much has changed?
Yeah,
exactly. It's very outdated. But to be honest, again, I kind of feel like I have to say this. I mean, Robot Wars wouldn't be Robot Wars without Razor appearing. BattleBots isn't BattleBots without Warhead appearing. It's defined itself. I mean, it's not just another bot the Razor team have built. It is its own. It has its own legacy as far as I'm concerned.
And it's last series. It did really well. I mean, let's face it. It took Minotaur to beat it.
Yeah, and it did have one of those beautiful moments of it kind of levitating itself on its face across the world.
It went viral. It took I think a few million hits on YouTube of of Warhead headstanding and killing complete control. It was incredible.
It's already dead.
It was incredible. I love how they also got the flamethrowers in like the wings as well now. To like when it launches it at the disc, it sort of it makes the disc on fire, and it's such a grand spectacle that Warhead brings to any competition. As as we've already mentioned, it's just so nice, and I hope it doesn't end up getting too trashed. I'd like to see Warhead come home, but we'll have to wait and see.
Definitely.
I
want to quickly say this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say this. I want to say, I do hope that maybe one day, potentially, the Razor team could build a new robot. Like, not Razor, not Warhead, something completely different. I would like to see that one day.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see something new from those guys one day. It would be really nice to see. Quite a nice, new thing to happen.
Yeah.
Plot number 55 is Yeti. Last year's semi-finalist, considering it was a reserve when it went in, is damn good.
That's sometimes that's forgotten. I think that like it was just waiting in the wings.
Yep, it was a reserve last time around. It did so well, and it took Tombstone to a judge's decision to beat it. It's incredible that it took that much to beat. Took that long to beat Yeti. It's such a nice design. It's got a big drum. It's got the panic attack style lifting forks, and with the powered weapon rule now, even if the drum dies, those forks can score points for it. So
yeah, and that's a huge rule change. That's probably maybe it would have saved it last time, but I mean it wasn't very mobile in that final fight against Tombstone.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I don't know. That was a close decision, but I mean,
I think it went the right way.
Yeah, I think so too. With Yeti, this is another robot that I don't think has changed very much. But I guess why would you change it? It's another one of those. It did really well, so why change it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I love the fact that the forks can kind of bring robots into the drum, or I mean, it's just right.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, it is just right. I do like it quite a lot. And I tell a lie, that wasn't bot number 55, that was bot 54. 55 is the returning son of Waiachi.
Yes.
With the mighty spinning triangular bar on top. I think fairly unlucky last time around, I think we can all agree.
It took a massive hit from Poison Arrow.
It did take a big hit. How... Do you reckon it can do it this time? I mean, I know, Steve, last time you said this was going to win the whole thing.
Well, yeah, on past experience, I was pretty sold on it coming back. Especially, I mean, well, when you see it in that first episode, you're thinking like, man, this thing is really going to wreck its competition. But I mean, it all took was one nasty hit from Poison Arrow, who is actually not here this time. It's so deadly. The one thing that can kill it is itself, I guess, or Poison Arrow. But I had this as my tip to win last time, but I mean, you can see where that went.
Yeah, Anderson, what do you reckon of Son of Waiachi?
They're back again. On their side. Yeah, it's another one, isn't it? What have you done to change? Again, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because, to be fair, last time they did die very, very unluckily. They were very unfortunate to go the way they did.
Yes.
But at the same time, so again, they potentially could do much better this time around. But at the same time, there is that little worry of, well, if it was that easy last time, might it be that easy again this time? You never know. But I hope they do well.
They gotta hope they sort whatever went bad last time out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they put that wire back in place. That's probably what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of hype on Reddit, which was a what is bot number 56? I do appreciate BattleBots BattleBots' little response to this. putting La Machine as bot number 56.
Yeah.
Let's talk about La Machine. Obviously, very well renowned for winning in Robot Wars '96, I think it was.
Yeah, the very popular middleweight design La Machine. It was it was the pioneer of the wedge.
It was.
I mean, even that early on, it still showed how successful wedges could be. I mean, simple machines aside, it's exactly what you need to get under something.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You watch all the rumbles it was in, and it just bosses them.
Yeah. Yeah, it took until someone could lift like Biohazard or Taz at the time to beat it. You know, it took that long for something, with something that can get under it and actually actively lift something before anyone could really match it. It was kind of unparalleled in that way. I also I remember watching one of the build videos behind it. Apparently, La Machine was either on or off. There was no throttle control. There was no speed controllers. It was either on or off, and that was it.
What?
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how far things have come, and I really like the BattleBots. Oh yeah. I like how BattleBots did reference it, which is really quite cool.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, it did make me hope that maybe, just maybe one day we can see a return of La Machine with an active weapon, potentially.
We
I doubt it, but
Let's what was it? In season 3, when they brought it back to fight Ginsu and Chinchilla, did it have a weapon?
No.
Damn it.
No,
I'm trying to think.
If it did, it had a spike
it's been a
punch.
very long time since I've seen that.
I know one time they had a pneumatic ram on the top of it. They'd scoop them up on their wedge, and then this spike would shoot out and hit their opponents. I knew that much, but I don't know when that was.
I mean, who knows? Obviously, there are a few notable omissions from season 3. I think we should probably just mention some of those guys.
Yeah, definitely.
No Beta, obviously they're in China, which is a bit of a shame.
Damn you, John Reed!
Stop playing with Tanshi and come and play with Beta instead. It's much more fun.
It's much better.
Moving on. Obviously, very sadly, no Lisa Winter. Lisa Winter is a judge this time around, but no Megatento, which really breaks my heart because I love Megatento.
Yeah. Megatento is brilliant.
No complete control, as we mentioned already.
Yeah.
Again, probably due to time constraints, but again, Derek Young is judging, which is really great.
Yeah. They do have a lot of cool judges this time.
They really do. Are there any other majorly notable omissions?
I'm sure the comments will
Nightmare,
fill us
of
in.
Course.
Oh yeah, Nightmare definitely.
No,
that's
Nightmare.
That's a huge omission.
That's the first time they've not been at BattleBots ever, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
as far
so.
as I know.
Again, sorry I forgot his name, but the guy from Biohazard's mustache, that's
Carlo.
not there this time around either, sadly.
Carlo.
That's the one.
Carlo, come back. Bring us Biohazard 2018.
So, with that all said and done, who is going to win Anderson?
What, who's going to win Anderson? Let me think. No, I'm joking.
Who's
my
winning
wife
BattleBots?
won me a few years ago. No, sorry, yeah. For me, it's got to be free shipping, like I said. I think that has potential, to be fair. I think that it's both fun but good. And I don't know whether it's more me hoping it wins or me thinking it will win, but yeah, that's my pick for the win. So watch it go in round 1, guys.
Steve.
Geez, it's a tough one because there's a lot of them that really could really just wreck everything and just take over. Mm-hmm. But I'm just going through them now, and it's hard to pick just one because there's a couple that I think could really cause issues. Geez, if I had to pick one, my heart says Red Devil because I love it. But my brain says I think we're going to see good things from Whiplash.
Oh, really? You're going Whiplash?
Yeah, I think we're going to see good things from Whiplash. I don't quite know why I say that, but I mean, it just came off a good run at RoboGames.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's one of it's a tough one for me, but there's so many here that really could do a really good job. And I mean, the results are already done.
Yeah.
So I mean, it has happened.
We can't change it
Yeah.
now. We can't change it now.
Yeah. But I like Gigabyte too. So that'll be if that one doesn't win, I would say Gigabyte.
Okay. I'm going to go with the phone. No, I'm going with Minotaur. With
all right.
With an honourable mention to Bronco. I think Bronco could be right up there. I've just got a feeling that they'll do really well this season. But I'm sticking my my eggs with Minotaur because I think last time they were a bit unlucky. Yeah. There's not a whole lot that can beat them. They've done so well over the years with Toro Maximus, and I think last time they were a bit unlucky, a few teething issues. This time I think it's time for Minotaur to take the giant nut back to Brazil. But yes. Who knows? BattleBots airs this Friday.
Yeah, please check your listings. Make sure the time zones. Make sure you got the right time zone.
Yeah, absolutely. It airs. I don't know what time it airs. There'll be some links in the description to check out the website for BattleBots. Check out their Twitter. Everything else.
Where can we watch? Where can us Brits watch it in particular? Because I don't know that. So
we definitely can't watch it until it comes out in America. Anderson, wink.
Oh yeah, sorry, of course, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have Spike.
But hypothetically, if we could watch it,
I'm sure.
Where would we watch it?
I'm sure a simple Google search will answer all those questions. I don't think it's right to publicise where on this video in particular. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching our grandiose preview of BattleBots 2018. I hope it's a fantastic tournament. It looks like it could be. I'm very, very excited to see how it turns out. And I hope you guys all are too. I'm hoping we're going to have a few guest appearances once again, much like we did with Robot Wars from the BattleBots guys. I know some teams are interested. I've laid down a few contacts. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you very much for watching. I have been SamElliott64.
I've been Steve the American Killjoy.
Anderson was caught napping there. He was caught napping.
Yeah.
I snuck in.
I was caught napping. I've been Anderson. I 132 the Robot Wars Guru.
And I hope you all enjoy BattleBots Season 3's opener on Friday. I know we will. Until next time, see you later.